Yay. Welcome everybody back to my 32 fan series where I'm talking to one fan from each of the 32 NFL teams. Today we're obviously talking about the lovely Detroit Lions with the lovely logo, one of my favorite logos actually I was putting up for this whole series. So there is that. And then the other thing is too is Jason's here, but I wanted to let you know all of his information is going to be in the description. So if you want to find him, you will easily be able to find him. He is also a regular here. So this is not his first appearance. So I'm super excited just to hear what you're thinking and feeling about your Detroit Lions. So if you want to introduce yourself, let us know a little bit about you, how long you've been a Lions fan, and then we will just get into this conversation.
All right. Yo, what's up, everybody? My name is Jason Rutley. I guess I am a regular now. It's like my fourth time with my homie here. And yeah, I'm born and raised in the city of Pontiac, Michigan, where the legendary Pontiac Silverdome stood from 1975 to 2002. And so I'm from that city. Yeah, born and raised a Lions fan. Really probably started watching around 94, around that time. So I was able to see Barry Sanders and some of the Detroit Lion greats of that time. And yeah, man, I'm just glad to be here as usual. This
Love
is
it.
normal for us, just talking sports, talking Lions, and just
Yeah.
glad to be here.
Agreeing and disagreeing, even when you get annoyed at me. And then I'm like, trust me, bro. So,
listen, listen. After
it's okay.
last year, I was like, I get it, but how could you disrespect us like that? Like you had us third in the North, but hey, we
It's
ended up fourth. So we'll get to that.
yeah, I love it. So how does it feel being a Lions fan? I feel like obviously you all had the lowest of lows, which we all are aware of the history of the lowest of lows. But
Yeah,
then I feel like there was this uptick, and then for consecutive seasons, it was like, okay, we're here, we're so close, we got this, we can do this. And
yeah.
then last year happens. So how are you feeling right now as a Lions fan? And then your favorite player got traded. I know. So how are you feeling about being a Lions fan right now?
Yeah. It's been a journey. Like we talked, previously, when your team wins, everybody starts to kind of come and pluck, right? They start trying to grab coaches,
Mhm.
grab assistants, grab your coordinators, grab your players that are making an impact and all of that. David Montgomery was
Mhm.
definitely one of my favorite Detroit Lions. I have his jersey. I probably wore it on the last sit down that we had. But yeah, just overall as a Lions fan, it's really just you kind of got to temper your expectations because for a couple of years we were really, 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 really high. Everybody was turning their attention to the Lions, and oh, Dan Campbell is this great coach, and I'll run through a brick wall for him, and everybody wanted to play for the Lions, and it was just Lions were favored and all of this stuff. And then the last couple of seasons have definitely been very, very disappointing. I would say deflating,
Mhm.
just because the expectation was so freaking high. And
Yeah.
from 2023's NFL or NFC Championship debacle, being up 24-7, and then losing that game, and then coming back the next year, go 15-2, and then you lose to the Commanders, and then last year we
Mm.
missed the playoffs, and it's just like it's starting to feel like our window is starting to
Yeah.
close. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's not a good feeling right now for me anyway.
Okay. So draft happens. Come off the
Yeah.
season, you lose some guys, people are plucking, the story kind of the story as old as time. So now the draft happened.
Yep.
How would you describe your draft pick? Like your draft class? What's one word you would use to describe it?
One word that I would use to describe the Lions draft class would be indifferent.
Fair?
And that's because you can't win the draft in April. I mean, you can't win the season in April, right?
Mhm.
You have to. Some players take a year. Some players take two. Players take to the second contract
Yeah.
to the expect until the expectation is finally met. And just going back a little bit, I only say that it's deflating and indifferent. Like I use these phrases because it's all about winning. Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Like the Lions have had you at the highest of highs and at the lowest of lows, more lows than highs, and they still haven't got to the Super Bowl in
Hmm.
most of our lifetimes. So, well, never. I mean, they've never made
Yeah.
it. So, in nobody's lifetime have you ever seen the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. And you've seen the Cardinals and the Saints and the Buccaneers and some of the teams that sucked the most in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And even the Falcons, you've seen some really bad teams or
Fair.
organizations historically make it to the Super Bowl. So
If you like the content that you're getting, don't forget to hit that like button. Leave us a comment in the comment section below, and I'll let you get back to your video.
but as far as the draft, um, yeah, you can't win. You can't
Yeah.
win the season in April. So that's how I
Okay.
feel.
That's
I feel
fair.
like I felt like they made some decent picks, but we'll see.
Yeah. Is there a day 2 or day 3 pick where you were kind of thinking, okay, maybe like I can kind of see why they would pick this guy that you think is going to be like a steal, where you were like, okay,
Yeah.
I like him. I've taken some time. I've looked him up. I've kind of thought about how I feel about him, and I think he might be a steal.
Yeah, I don't know why his name is escaping me right now. He's the
Cool
wide
position.
receiver from Kentucky.
Oh,
Give me
interesting.
him. Yeah,
Oh man, I know
he's
I
a
know who you're
dog.
talking.
I'm
Okay.
gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up real quick. My fault. I should have had that
No,
ready.
you're fine. It is Kendrick Law.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Law. Yeah, he's. I see him as a
Okay.
steal. I feel like he's gonna be a mix between like a Jameson Williams and a Golden Tate.
Okay.
Speed. He's like 5'11" or 6 feet.
Mhm.
He's close to 200 pounds. So he's a typical receiver, outside receiver.
Right.
Um, but I feel like he's going to be a sneaky pick. He's going to be sneaky.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
the
that.
one that I would say for day two. Yeah, or day
Good
two or
choice.
three. Yeah, thank you.
Is there a player you think is going to make an immediate impact where you thought, okay, yep, I know where he's going to go and I know where I know how he is going to help us?
I'm gonna be honest. That's a really good question, but I think I think there's going to be a couple of guys.
Okay.
Can I say two, or do you want me to
You
stick to
can
one?
you can listen, nobody's here for me. They're here for
Okay,
you. So you can say whatever you
we're
want.
we're here because of you. So,
No, no, no. I think
um,
people click on these for the teams.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna say Abney, the
Okay.
DB. I believe
Mhm.
Abney's gonna make an immediate impact. Abney's gonna be on special teams as well as um he's gonna get some looks on at maybe nickel or um one of the DB spots.
Okay.
And it's gonna be because either injury or just because he just came in camp ready.
Okay.
But you know how these things go. You go into camp with this set of guys, and then through the season, it's just a different situation due to
Ebbs and
injury,
flows.
different
Mhm.
things. Um, but Abney is one, and I also believe that our rookie right tackle is going to make an immediate impact as well.
Okay.
He studied Penei Sewell before he got there. He came from Clemson, so
Nothing wrong with that.
he's a one of those NFL. He came from an NFL system, and so I just believe that him being next to Tate Ratledge, who was also in his shoes last year as a rookie.
Okay.
Um, they'll be playing next to each other, right guard, right tackle, and then he got Penei Sewell to lean on. Who Penei, since he's been in the NFL since 2021, has played right tackle that whole time, and then
Mhm.
he's being coached by the incomparable Hank Fraley, who most notably has been interviewed for coordinator positions the last two off seasons. And
Yeah.
so I believe, yeah, those two guys, Abney and then our right tackle from Clemson. I can't. Why am I forgetting his name right now? I shouldn't. Is it Miller?
Miller. It's
Yeah,
Miller.
yeah, yeah,
It's
Miller.
Miller.
We'll
It's
just say Miller.
Miller. Yeah. His name will come to me at some
I'm
point.
excited. Is
Yeah.
it?
I'm
I know.
I'm
I feel like it's
terrible.
right there. I feel like it's right, but his name is like right
I
there though.
Yeah, I can probably tell you 3 plays he made, like 3 times last
Mhm.
season where he made really good blocks, but
Yeah,
sometimes names are so hard for me.
yeah,
Blake,
yeah. I get it.
Blake, Blake Miller.
Blake Miller.
Blake,
I
it's
wanted to
Blake.
say Bruce Miller, but I knew it wasn't Bruce. But
Yeah.
yeah, Blake Miller.
Yeah, because it's like Blake, Cade, like anyways, I was going through there because Clemson had a lot of players drafted this year, but their
They
college
did.
team didn't show for it. So I
Yeah.
remember checking all of the players on their team, and I was just kind of like, something's off here. Now I'll just, I'll leave that where it's at. But something's definitely off with Clemson, so I'll just leave that where
Okay.
it's at. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
feel
so
you. I
there's
feel
that.
you. For
Yeah,
sure.
is there a player that your team passed on a couple of times, multiple times, one time, whatever it was, that you think will come back to haunt you?
Can I keep it a being with you?
Go for it. No, I want you
I
to lie to me.
This is the first time, and I'm not really ashamed to say it, but it's one of it is what it is. This year, my wife and I went to Sedona for vacation,
Okay.
and literally we arrived Thursday, which is the first day of the draft.
Okay.
I literally forgot that the draft was even coming on. I've been focused on the NBA playoffs because my Pistons, number one seed, 60 wins,
Amen.
are doing their thing. Thankfully, they turned it around against Orlando, and now we're cooking Cleveland. But so I was thinking about NBA playoffs and totally forgot that the draft was on. And I literally didn't even see or remember the draft was on until somebody I scrolled up to Facebook and they were like, the Lions take Blake Miller at number 17, offensive tackle from Clemson. And I'm like, oh, snap, I forgot. Like, I'm literally, you understand, you understand, but they don't
Yeah.
understand. The draft is like one of our holidays, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the draft,
100%.
it's the Super Bowl, it's
Yep.
free agent, like the
Opening
first day of
day.
free agency where
Opening
players
day.
start signing. Yeah. So it's one
Yeah.
of those
Opening
days
day.
that we tune into. But for the first time in like 30 years, and I'm giving my age away, but I was 11 when I started watching the NFL. I'm 43. I don't mind. I don't mind admitting that because I think I look pretty all right for 43.
Black doesn't crack. Okay, you
Black
got
don't crack unless you smoke it. but yeah. So just to sorry I went down that rabbit hole, but
Yeah.
I literally didn't even like see nothing until like the third day. The third day I'm in the hotel room and I'm like, let me watch rounds 4 through 7, and I think I may have watched six and seven.
Right. So you
But
missed kind of the rush of like
yeah,
following
so
a guy and trying to
like
figure out
this year
okay.
I wasn't like, no, this guy was right there. Why didn't you get him?
Okay.
But
That's
I'm
fair.
actually glad that we vacationed at that time because as a Lions fan, as a sports fan, and I know y'all out there feel me. Sometimes you just get tired of fighting, right? You get tired of being a couch GM. You just like, you know what? Let this guy do his job, man. We're gonna rock with whoever he
We'll hope
get
for the
anyway
best.
because
Yeah.
if you're a loyal fan, you're gonna just rock out anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, honestly, there was no guy that I was like, oh, we should have got this guy. We should have got this guy. Now Caleb
That's fair.
Downs, knowing that we had injuries to Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, Caleb Downs would have been ideal,
Okay.
especially at 17. I don't know where he got drafted
He
at.
went he went at 10 or 12. He went
Okay,
pretty
yeah,
early. But
so
okay,
we'd
well
have to trade him.
let me change the question though to fit to where it would make you would have gotten Caleb Downs. Would you
Okay.
have been upset if they would have traded up to get Caleb Downs? Like would you have been
No,
if they would have given away their first and I don't know, their third or whatever to trade with would you would have been like, "Okay, yeah, I understand that pick."
no, I definitely wouldn't have been upset because this is the
Okay.
thing. A lot of general managers, they say, we don't care including Brad Holmes for the Lions, we don't care what position he plays. We want the best football player, right? They say
Correct.
that all the
Absolutely.
time.
Mhm.
But in the back of their mind, they know they have needs to meet.
Correct.
And so
Correct.
Caleb Downs would have been an immediate impact player on any team, literally.
Mhm.
Somebody would have got their spot took this fall because Caleb Downs is a
On the
dog.
team,
Well, yeah.
respectfully.
So
Yep.
yeah. So no, I would have. And I
Okay.
honestly think that people put too much emphasis on draft picks. Right. This is my theory. Most times when it comes to players, like okay, so for instance, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. I'm just going to say this and get out the way. Look at the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Rams. Right. All Super Bowl caliber teams. They normally don't mind trading a pick for a
Correct.
proven player.
Agreed.
So I feel like draft picks are a lot of times overhyped
I
But when
don't
there's a
disagree.
player in the draft like a Caleb Downs, he's like a Micah Parsons, he's like a LeVar Arrington, he's like one of those guys that you hear about, like a Will Anderson, and it's like, oh, he's going to be
Go get him.
something. Go
Yeah.
get him. So why am I
Yeah.
worried about a third round pick?
No,
You
I
know what I mean?
100%
Yeah,
agree with that. And
yeah,
the the least aggressive teams
yeah,
rarely ever win. There are
yeah.
outliers, right? There's always going to be outliers to every single thing. But I always say,
Right,
look at the baseline. Look at the baseline. Look at the throughput for who is usually winning games and who is
right.
usually in Super Bowl predicaments. It's
Yeah,
usually the teams that are willing to take the risk. And it's not
absolutely.
always just to take a risk. It's a calculated, we need a corner. Who can I find? Who can I get? What do
Yeah,
you want? Let us see if we're going to do it. Yes, we're making the trade. Like, I love that. I mean, I think the Rams are perfect. They had Goff and they saw Matthew Stafford and they were like, listen, can we trade? Like, we know what we need. He is what we need. Whatever it is, that's what we need. And
yeah.
I respect that. And I 100% agree with you.
And this is even further to prove yours and I point, right? The Rams traded 2 first-round picks, a third, and Jared Goff.
Hmm.
And guess what happened that year? They
They won a
won the
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you, like, if a
Make a
dude
move.
is laying like that, why are we even talking draft picks?
Make a move. You're never
Talking
going to get an
draft, we're
argument.
talking about, and now mind you, those draft picks end up being like a Jahmyr Gibbs and like a JMO, right? Dogs. But
Yeah.
at the time, it was just a pick.
Yeah. No, I agree
And
with you.
at this point, the Rams have won that trade because they won the Super Bowl.
100%.
And I love my guy,
And yeah, I
but
love it.
still, yeah,
Yeah. Shout out to Matthew Stafford. So okay, let's talk about the team a little bit. So we
okay,
started with you kind of saying like, all right, it's kind of feeling a little weird right now. It feels
yeah,
like we don't really know where we're at and what's going on.
yeah.
What would success look like this season for you? Like, are you thinking like what is success for you at the end of this season? Obviously, every single team that feels like they're in a Super Bowl window, obviously
Hmm.
Super Bowl is all win the Super Bowl is the goal. I
Hmm.
understand that.
Hmm.
If they fall short of that, what is something that you're thinking like, okay, but you know what? We were successful this season. Like we're back on track. We're back where we want to be.
Yes, great question. I no longer care about NFC North division titles.
Division. Okay.
Didn't matter. I no
Okay.
longer care about having the best record in the NFC or in the league. 15-2 didn't matter. You got smoked
Yeah.
by the Washington Commanders at the crib after a bye week. Doesn't matter. You know what I care about? Let's go to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Let's give ourselves a chance to be world champs.
Okay.
That's to me, and I'm not, nobody's ever going to say, it's not successful to go to the Super Bowl. If you make it to the Super Bowl, that's a success.
Yeah.
Only
Even
one
if you
team is
lose.
going to, yeah, only one
Yeah.
team is going to win. For me, I won't even say winning it. Of course, you want to win it. Of
Of
course. I mean,
course.
100 times, a million times over. Making the Super Bowl is the only successful season for me,
Okay.
for the Lions, especially since Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have been there. This will be season 6. You know, delusional Lions fans talking about dynasties and all this crap, and we haven't even made it to the Super Bowl yet. What are we talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. Okay.
So,
What position group worries you the most as of right now?
position group worries me the most. Great question. Can I give you 2?
Yep.
O-line still,
Okay.
because the O-line is very young. Outside of Panay
Mhm.
Sewell, you know, Mahogany is only in his 3rd year coming up. The center, Cade Mays, just got there. Tate Ratledge, right guard, 2nd year. Right tackle, Blake Miller, rookie. So you got all these players. You got 5 guys with less than 10 years combined experience.
Okay.
That worries me. Because it's a new O-line. And just
Mhm.
knowing where the Lions come from with the O-line we had with Taylor Decker and Graham Glasgow and Frank Ragnow and all these guys, it's a different day. It's a totally different day. Even when we had even when we got my man for 1 year, Kevin Zeitler, we got him from the Ravens,
Okay.
signed him to a deal, let him play for 1 year. Brad Holmes felt like 9 million was too much. He went to the Titans, and then the O line struggled, and then you try to bring Ragnar out of retirement. That was a mess. Last year was a mess from the O line
Okay.
position. So that worries me. And I always worry about our secondary.
Yeah.
Our linebackers are weak too. Our defensive line, I don't know either. But you're only giving me one or two, so I'm gonna say offensive line
Okay.
and secondary, especially with the
Okay.
injuries to Kirby and Branch.
Okay. Where do
Yeah.
you think you've improved the most since last season?
Um, Great question. Improve the most. That's a good question. I would say O line. No, that's kind of weird to say, but
No, but I
both
think it
things
makes
can be true.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes sense because it's like maybe, right? If
Yeah.
we figure it
Right.
out, maybe. But
Yeah, it's the
also,
possibility. Yeah.
yeah, but also they're still young.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Because
that's
being
fair.
young doesn't
You're
mean
working to get it.
right. Exactly. Being young doesn't mean they won't have success, but it's just I'm worried about it. That's just me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
No, that's
saying?
fair.
But I also feel like they did improve the O line from last year. And now you got Panay on the left side because Decker was getting beat like a drum when he was healthy. And so I think Panay moving over to the left is going to strengthen Christian Mahogany even as at left guard.
That would be good. That
Just
would be good.
like he strengthened Tate Ratledge when he was over there on the right side. So
Okay.
he has that kind of impact. I think that
Okay.
Panay will help him.
That works for me. Where do
Yep.
you think what do you think the Detroit Lions do better than most teams in the NFL? Or what do you think they will do better than most teams in the NFL?
Man, you asked some good questions.
Well, I try.
You did.
What's actually crazy, just to give you time to think of an answer, what's actually crazy is I actually start with like 40 questions.
Okay.
And then I say to myself, like, what questions will be fun for me to answer, like as a Steelers fan?
I
Like, what
love
are
it.
some things that I feel like I would want to just answer just because, like, it won't be easy just to be like, oh, our offense, our defense. It's like I actually have to think. And so
Right.
that's usually how I like, anyways, that's usually how I come to my questions. And I like randomly write questions down literally throughout the year. So
I
like
love
I
it.
already have 2 questions for next year. I'm like, these might make it. I don't know yet. So
I
anyways,
love it. I love it. For me, I think it's a tie between play action and running the ball,
amen. Yep.
or slash spreading the field.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because man, we got Pacheco now, we got Kendrick Law, we got Isaac Tesla as our third receiver. We picked up Greg Dortch from the Cardinals. Like we got some dudes with some speed. And I
Mhm.
haven't even mentioned JMO and St. Brown yet. So
Yeah.
um we got some dudes. We got some
Yeah.
dudes, but I think that offense. So I guess if you asked me that question, I would say we do offense better than everybody else. I'll just
I
keep
would
it at yeah.
I think that that's a fair answer also.
Yeah. We
So,
do offense better. Yeah.
Tashard Choice is still there, right?
He is. He's our running backs
Okay.
coach.
Lovely.
That's your boy?
Awesome. Yeah, he left Texas to go there.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, you're right. He did. A
Yeah.
couple years ago.
He coached, I believe he coached Gibbs, and then he came and he coached Bijan, and then he stayed with us for another year afterwards, and then last year he left and went to the Lions. We
Okay.
thought he was going to go to the Cowboys, but he ended up going to the Lions. So
I'm
yeah,
glad he came
shout
to
out
the
to
Lions. We love him. We
shout out
love
to Choice.
we
Yeah,
love yeah, we love
me
TC.
too.
Yep.
Awesome. So, okay, this is the fun round. So, you can either give me a quick answer or you can give me an answer and then explain if you feel the need to. So, the
Okay.
first one is quarterback confidence on a scale from 1 to 5. 1 being absolutely not, please get this guy out of here ASAP. And 5
Okay.
being he can stay as long as he wants to stay.
I'll give it a 4. 4.
Okay,
Yep.
fair.
Yep.
Okay, coaching staff trust level from 1 to 5.
Mm, 3.5.
Okay, okay.
3.5.
Who?
And that's
Okay.
because I need Dan Campbell to take his hands off the offense altogether. Like I
Mm,
know we got 2 guys. I know we got Drew Petzing and then we got the other guy. So I want him to get them full control. The defense has full control with Kelvin Shepard. So if he could take his hands completely off the offense, but he won't though, because 4th down is all on him. He's gonna say go for it.
yeah.
So three
And
and a
I
half.
I feel like, yeah, he hasn't learned what his bread and butter is yet, but I think
Mhm.
that you're correct. I think if he was a leader and more of a CEO or more of a, I think it would help him because I feel like he could understand the flow of the game. But that
Yeah,
was my issue with him losing Ben Johnson. I had a feeling that was coming
yeah,
because I just saw it coming from a mile away. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he needs to step away a little bit. Okay, so who do you think is going to carry the team this year, offense or defense?
That's a great question. Offense again.
Okay,
We just got so many weapons. It's just
yeah,
ridiculous. And if Sam Laporta is back healthy, if his back is healthy, um, sky's the limit.
okay.
Offense is still gonna be one of the top two or three in the league, I believe.
Offense is going to offense. Okay. If
Yeah.
you could trade drafts with any other team, so you get all of their draft picks and they get all of your draft picks, who would you want to trade with? Would you want to trade or what would you do?
Great question. Um, because of our needs, like we got an edge rusher in the second round. We needed that really badly. We needed a right tackle. We needed a receiver. I probably would stay where we are,
Okay.
but if I didn't stay, I would say Dallas because I feel like Dallas was really aggressive. Caleb
Yeah.
Downs was a great pick, and
I,
they
I agree.
Dallas. I'm actually kind of jealous of Dallas's defense, like what they've done this offseason. Like Rashawn Gary, some of the moves that they've made. You know, last year they got Quentin Williams and
Mhm.
Kenny Clark. They've been doing some things, and
Okay.
so I'm kind of jealous of their defense right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, not a comment I expected anybody to make after the past 2 years, but I feel you. They
yeah.
it seems like they've seen that they have a need and they're trying to fix it. So I
Dallas
agree
gonna
with
be
you.
scary, man. I won't be surprised
Yeah.
if they won the NFC East this year, honestly. And that's no, and I hate Dallas. Well, I've hated them historically because of our history, the cheating, and all
Yeah.
the Jerry Jones crap. But I wouldn't put it past them. Dak Prescott is an amazing quarterback. People give him flag and hate on him all the time, but
Mhm.
he's a dog. Dallas got some good things going on over there. So,
Okay.
yeah.
If you had a this always happens moment for the Lions where you're just watching the game and you're like, "Of course, here we go again. This always happens to us. I'm so sick and tired of this." What would that be for you?
You know what? It used to be the referee stuff,
Okay.
but now it's Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna say
Dan Gamble. Dan
that.
Gamble Campbell is what we call him. It's like, bro, it's nothing wrong with the fourth and shorts going for it. Like we love that. We love the grit. We love all of it, right? We love it all. But you don't have to always do it.
Yeah.
Like, not always, bro. Come on. Like somebody should be able to tap him on the shoulder, like, Dan, nah, Doc, not right now.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
that. It's that. Because
Yeah.
sometimes especially last year when he was calling plays after they basically fired Johnny Morton,
Mhm.
I feel like Dan Campbell destroyed our season. I really do.
Yeah. He was
Yeah.
just like, "F it, we're going." "No, we're
Yeah.
going." I'm like
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. They say F it.
All
They
right.
say fourth and F it. They got t-shirts. They got t-shirts that say fourth and F it, with the Lions logo right
I
there.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. If it works, it
Yeah.
works. If it doesn't, hey, screw it. It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
we'll just give him the football. It doesn't matter. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's awesome. So my final question for you is if you could send a message to the owner, the GM, honestly, if you could send a message to anyone on the team, you can send multiple messages if you choose.
Okay.
Who would you send the message to and what would you say?
I literally love you for this question. Can I say that? Like, my heart just got warm. I love that. Oh,
You're like, I need to get this out right now.
I only have two messages. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
My first message is to Brad Holmes. Stop being cheap. Stop
Okay.
shopping at the Goodwill thinking you're going to win a Super Bowl. You have to get dogs. And I ain't talking about that cute grit stuff where you signing guys off the practice squad and they end up with 11 and a half sacks like Aquadine Muhammad. And then you let him walk for $6 million to Tampa Bay. You got lucky. He had a great season. And then you went and got another scrub to play DN, DJ Wanham from the Panthers. You got to spend money, bro. You got to go out there and you have to like say, how we were saying fourth and F it. You got to be like, It's now or nothing. Like you gotta like seriously, because
Okay.
as you can see, each year that window gets smaller and smaller and
Hmm.
smaller and smaller every single year. Coordinators leave, then two coordinators leave, then players start. You get traded, David Montgomery. The team is never going to be the same from year to year. Now Kirby's hurt, Branch is hurt. You got a small window to do it with the guys you have. So
Yeah.
you got to stop being cheap. Please stop being cheap. I call them bargain bread. I'm tired. I'm tired of the bargains, bro. Like, go
Okay.
ahead and get some dogs.
Yeah.
So that message would go to him. The second message would go to Goff. And it's not a harsh message. My simple message to Goff: you don't have to be the hero.
Mm,
If
that's a good one.
Sam Darnold can be on his fifth team and he's only 30 or 29 and win the Super Bowl, what makes you think you can't do it? You've already been there. You know what it takes. Stop trying to be the hero. And just
Yeah.
people ask me all the time, they say, do you think the Lions could win the Super Bowl with Jared Goff? Absolutely. We've seen way worse quarterbacks win the Super Bowl. If you go
Yeah. You
back
just can't throw
as
the ball to
far
the
as
other
me,
team.
yeah, watching the Super Bowl in the 90s and Brad Johnsons and these dudes,
Sam Darnold. I mean,
Sam Darnold, Nick Foles won the Super Bowl.
Nick Foles.
Um,
That's a good
um,
one.
Jeff Hostetler
Yeah.
with the Giants. Like, bro, you ain't even got to be the man. You ain't got to be the
No.
main character. We just need you to do your job. Don't turn the
Yeah.
ball over and don't do stupid stuff.
Okay.
So
Those are
those would be mine.
Those are your two. Those are good messages because
Thank you.
it seems very basic.
Yeah,
To win
it's
football
simple.
games, we got to do the basic things right. We have to get good players, and
Absolutely.
hopefully, good players turn into great. We can't get average players and expect them to be great. We have to get good and hope that they climb.
Because a GM will get lucky every now and then,
Yeah,
make a
for sure.
terrible pick, and then everybody else is like, "Oh, that was a terrible pick," and then it turns out to be spectacular. That does happen from
Hmm.
time to time. But
Exactly.
also, you know, I want to see Brad Holmes not be the smartest guy in the room, because it's like, bro, like, okay, we get it. You like to reach for guys that aren't really land like that. We get it, but you got to chill out on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I could go on and on. I'll just leave it
Yeah, it's
there.
just a no for you. Well, those are all the questions I had for you. So I will end on you. You can say whatever you want, and as soon as you're done, I will hit the end button. The only thing I want to mention is all of your information is going to be in the description box below. I think that your hat is fire,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for
Got
coming
it for
and
my
talking
birthday.
to me. Thank you for talking to me. Whoever bought it for you, they did a great job. Thank you for talking to me about the Lions, and I appreciate your passion and desire about them, because I think
Yeah.
sometimes we get so caught up in our sports teams that we get tired of being passionate. Like, we get tired because it's just
Yeah.
kind of like, are you guys ever going to figure it out? But it's always nice sometimes to kind of go back and be like, but no, but I love them so, I'm in this abusive relationship with them.
Yeah.
Abusive is in air quotes, everyone. And I want them
Yep.
to be good so bad. So I understand it. So I totally get it. Thank you for chatting with me. I always appreciate
For
you. And then
sure.
anything you want to say, we'll end with you.
Yeah. Shout out to you. Like I said last time, you've been doing your thing, growing your pages, becoming a public figure, just killing it out
I
here.
don't know about that.
So I'm definitely proud of you, like I always say. And keep up the great work. And I'll say this about the Lions. You told us that we would finish third in the division. And when we collaborated and it showed up on my Instagram page, all my Lions fans was going crazy. They was
They
like,
were mad
"What?
at me.
You sound crazy. Do you know what
Mhm.
we're talking about? Lions is this,
Yep.
Lions is that." And I disagreed with you, but I also kind of was like, she may have a point. Like, losing your center, losing both coordinators, you know,
And that
expectation.
schedule.
Yeah, and
The
the schedule was
schedule was what I
brutal.
didn't like. Yeah.
Schedule was brutal.
Yeah.
Um, but we overcame a lot of stuff and went 9-5, and then we lost those last three. We lost to the Vikings. We lost to your Steelers that we should have won. And it was another game. I can't think about it. But the Vikings beat us twice. The Packers beat us twice. And, we had our chances to make the playoffs, but how bad we were looking, like the season needed to end. So
Mhm.
um, I'm gonna go on a limb and do something that I normally don't do, and I'm gonna
Okay.
make a prediction. The Lions will win the North this year, even though I don't care
Okay.
about that. I care that they perform well in the postseason. But that's part of getting there. And so I think they'll win the North. I think we'll finish 12-5 this year.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna say the Super Bowl stuff, but once we get a chance in the tournament, you know,
Okay.
bet on black.
Okay. Well, I love that, and I'm going to end it without giving anything because I don't know how I feel yet. So I'm just letting people know because most
For
people are like,
sure.
"Why didn't you say anything?" And it's like I
Yep.
don't know how I feel yet. So that's
That
why
time is
I'm not
coming.
saying anything. Yeah. So
Trust me,
I will
y'all.
let it. I will. I,
Trust me, she gonna let us know what she think.
I
Loud
know
and
once
proud.
I feel everyone's like, "Oh, you don't have a feeling yet? Okay, when you do, let me know." And I'm like, "I will." I just right now I'm not sure yet. So
No, I ain't mad at
maybe,
that. Yeah.
maybe. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.